All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever felt like modern physics is just way too complicated? Seriously. Well, today we're going to explore a pretty radical idea that might just change all of that. What if, and stick with me here, what if everything in the entire universe is actually made of the exact same stuff? Let's dive in.
When you really look at modern physics, it can feel like a bit of a mess, right? On one hand, you've got quantum mechanics for all the tiny stuff, which is just famously bizarre. And then you've got Einstein's relativity for all the big stuff. They both work, sure, but they don't really play nice together. It feels counterintuitive, like reality is running on a set of rules that just don't quite add up.
Okay, so to really get why we might need a new idea, let's take a quick look at the biggest unanswered questions in physics. These are the major headaches that are keeping scientists up at night, scratching their heads. So first up, we have dark matter. Get this. All our observations tell us that about 85% of all the matter in the universe is just gone. It's missing, we can't see it, we can't touch it, but we know it's there because of its gravity. Then there's dark energy, this mysterious force that's making the universe expand faster and faster. And don't even get me started on quantum weirdness, where tiny particles seem to be everywhere at once until you look at them, which has led to some wild ideas like infinite parallel universes. And on top of all that, you've got the particle zoo, just a dizzying, confusing number of fundamental particles and forces. It all feels way too complicated to be the final answer, you know?
Now, the usual way of dealing with these problems has been to just add more stuff to the theory. It's kind of like trying to patch a leaky pipe with more and more chewing gum. But what if we've been going about it all wrong? What if there's a single, simple, elegant solution that fixes all of these problems at once?
Well, that potential solution has a name: dynamic vacuum field theory, or DVFT for short. And its core idea is both incredibly simple and absolutely profound. What if everything in the universe is made from one single underlying substance?
I want you to imagine this. Imagine the entire universe is filled with a kind of invisible, super stiff, cosmic gel. Or think of it like an elastic fabric that stretches across all of reality. According to this theory, that's it. That's the only thing that actually exists. Everything we see and experience, particles, planets, you, me, even light itself, isn't a separate thing at all. It's just a pattern, or a ripple, or maybe a dent in this one universal fabric.
So, how does this one simple idea explain, well, everything? It's all about how the fabric behaves. A particle, like an electron, isn't a tiny little ball. It's just a persistent, stable dent or twist in the fabric. Energy, like a beam of light, that's just a ripple, a vibration traveling through that fabric. And gravity? Gravity is nothing more than the stiffness of the fabric itself, the way it bends and curves around those dents we call matter. Okay, so if we run with this idea of a single universal fabric, does it actually help us with those big headaches we were talking about earlier? Well, this is where it gets really, really compelling. Because this one simple concept starts to clean up all those puzzles in a way that's surprisingly neat and tidy.
Let's start with that first huge one, the mystery of the missing mass. For decades now, we've been on this massive hunt for some kind of invisible particle to explain it, and we have found absolutely nothing. Zero.
And here's the big shift in thinking. The old idea forced us to look for a brand new, undiscovered particle. But DVFT suggests we've never found a dark matter particle because there isn't one to find. It's not a thing. Dark matter is just an effect of the vacuum fabric itself bending and warping on the massive scale of a galaxy.
Okay, what about puzzle number 2? The fact that the universe isn't just expanding, but it's speeding up. The standard explanation is this mysterious thing called dark energy, which is basically just another component we had to bolt onto our model of the cosmos to make the math work.
And once again, DVFT offers a much simpler answer. There's no extra force needed. The universe is accelerating its expansion because the fabric of space itself has a natural tendency to relax. Think about it like a giant rubber sheet that was stretched way out at the Big Bang and is now, over billions of years, slowly, gently relaxing back to a more natural state. No extra energy needed. It's just what the fabric does. And now for the really strange one, the one that breaks our brains, quantum mechanics. You know, the idea that particles are just a cloud of possibilities until some observer comes along and magically collapses them into a single reality. It's a concept that has led us down the rabbit hole of things like the multiverse. This is a huge point. DVFT completely removes the magic. There's no conscious observer needed to create reality.
A quantum measurement is just a physical interaction. It's a ripple in the fabric, the particle that simply settles into its most stable state. It's as physical and predictable as a wave hitting the beach and breaking onto the shore. It's a deterministic process, which means we don't need infinite parallel universes branching off every single second.
So by solving these puzzles, this theory does something else, something really profound. It brings physics back to a place that actually feels like common sense. It suggests that the universe isn't some bizarre, probabilistic casino, but a system that follows logical, understandable rules that we can actually grasp.
What's really mind-blowing is that this theory suggests the fundamental laws of physics aren't just random rules God wrote down. They emerge naturally from the properties of this cosmic fabric. Take inertia, the idea that an object at rest stays at rest. That's just the fabric's natural resistance to being disturbed. And Newton's famous F equals ma? That's just the fabric pushing back at you with a proportional reaction when you try to move a dent through it.
I think this quote just sums it all up perfectly. This theory paints a picture of a universe that actually makes sense. It doesn't remove the wonder, but it shifts the mystery from a magical why to a physical, understandable how. So, if all this is true, what does it actually mean for us, for our daily lives? Because this isn't just some abstract theory about the cosmos, it has some seriously profound implications for how we see ourselves and our place in the universe. Well, for starters, it suggests that everything is deeply and truly connected. There's no real separation between our minds and our bodies, or even between what we call the physical and the spiritual. It is all just different patterns in the exact same fabric. This gives us a whole new way of looking at ourselves. We're not these isolated little beings floating around in a cold, empty void. We are intricate, interconnected patterns within a single, unified cosmos. And that means that every single thing we do, every action we take, sends ripples through the entire system, which really reinforces a deep sense of shared responsibility.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway. We go from this confusing, chaotic zoo of countless particles, forces, and mysteries down to one single, elegant, dynamic field that generates everything we see, everything we are, and everything we experience. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on. If this view of reality turns out to be correct, that you and me and everyone and everything we've ever known are just different complex patterns in the exact same cosmic fabric, what does that change for you?